Hi everyone, Robin Cartwright here, coming to you live from Lake Charlotte. Well, I'm coming to you from my house, which happens to be on Lake Charlotte. But the reason I'm doing this video for you today is to show you what's been happening on Lake Charlotte. So like everywhere else in Martin County, we've had quite a bit of rain the last few weeks. In fact, between September 26th, give or take, and October 3rd, we had so much rain that our culverts in this lake were completely covered. And as a result, the city of Stuart has been out here this past week pumping water out of our lake to who knows where to try to bring the levels down a little bit. But we aren't the only place that's had this problem in the county. We all know that Canner Highway at Salerno Road was closed by the Sheriff's Department because there was so much flooding that people could not safely get by. We know that there was flooding on Canner Highway just outside of Banyan Bay. And we also know that there was flooding in Jensen Beach, mainly in the public shopping plaza, where there was just so much rain that people couldn't get around safely. And another place that we had great documentation of how much rain we had was at the Canner CPUD. In fact, many of you sent me pictures, and you sent me pictures of the parcel full of rain, asking what happens to all of this water. And then shortly after October 3rd, you sent me pictures saying, hey, what happened to all of this water? So I want to address what happened to all of the water on the Canner CPUD. Back in 2018, there were discussions that were had between Kimberly Horn, who was the engineer for the project, as well as Tom Reitz, who was the Associate or Assistant Development Director for the City of Stuart. And in those emails, they discussed specifically the surface water that existed between the Canner CPUD and the Lychee Tree Nursery. And that's important because the Lychee Tree Nursery uses that surface water for their irrigation. And it was acknowledged in these emails on November 15th specifically, that there would be disruption to that surface water that would greatly impact the Lychee Tree Nursery. So I want to be very clear about this. I'm not affiliated with the Lychee Tree Nursery. I don't own the Lychee Tree Nursery, but they are a small business in our community, and they are directly next to the Canner CPUD. So fast forward to all of this rain that we had end of September, and all of that water came, and then all of that water left. So all of that water left, and where did it go? Well, now we know where it exited to, and it exited to the Lychee Tree Family Nursery. So they started communicating with the City of Stuart, with the Board of County Commissioners, with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and with the South Florida Water Management District about the breach that occurred from the Canner CPUD onto their property. And due to the Freedom of Information Act, we have access to all of these records. And in fact, I'm going to share with you the pictures that they shared with these people to whom they sent this email, as well as their email. So I'm going to read you their email and share with you the pictures and videos that they sent in. So excuse me while I don't look at the camera, because I know that seems rude, but I want to make sure that I read this correctly. So on October 3rd, they sent the following email. The purpose of this letter is to inform the City of Stuart and Martin County of the current drainage problems created by the Canner CPUD. For the past few weeks, we have been watching the water levels at the Canner CPUD rise. It was no secret that the recharge ditch around the 50 acres was at capacity and standing water was covering much of the property. We had noticed that the pond in front of our property had turned construction brown a while ago, so we were fully aware that the water was coming under the culvert into our front pond. On Tuesday, September 26th, there was a larger breach of the recharge ditch onto our property. We contacted Joe Cooper. He responded and fixed the problem. On Friday, September 29th, there was a complete breach of the recharge ditch along both our east and south property lines. Hundreds of thousands of gallons of construction polluted water flowed quickly across the major portions of our property. Please see attached photos and videos. Our south driveway was completely underwater. Our east fields and grove were flooded with swiftly moving water from the adjacent construction site. On Friday afternoon, we placed a call to Joe Cooper as well as the City of Stuart. Jody Nentwith Kugler was very responsive and sent a City of Stuart engineer out to meet with the contractor, Joe Cooper. Water continued to flow throughout the day, Saturday and Sunday, as the entire Canner CPUD drained across our property and into the St. Lucie River. While they attempted to fix the problem on Saturday, there was another full breach on Sunday, and again, hundreds of thousands of gallons of polluted construction water continued to flow quickly across our property. These breaches have caused damage to our irrigation systems and damage to our stock that is currently sitting in standing water. We are very concerned about the drainage of this property. The 19 acres along the southern portion of the Canner CPUD property was once owned by South Florida Water Management District as a floodplain into the St. Lucie River. We are all fully aware that there was very low land, including wetlands, on this 50-acre site, even a large wetland that crossed our property line. Assuming everything has been currently constructed to plan, the plans have failed to achieve their legal requirement to retain all stormwater off our property. Therefore, we hold little faith in the engineering plans that manage their stormwater after they have covered 70% of the property with concrete. Our business has been here for 48 years and we have lived on this property for 56 years. We have never seen flooding like this before. We have tried to be good neighbors since we lost the fight to stop this type of development. While Joe Cooper is very professional and very responsive, we do not believe that this development is going to adequately manage the water that it captures. As we said before, our property once shared a wetland with the adjacent property where there was a natural flow from the adjacent wetland into our ponds. We will remind you that Martin County dug this pond in the 1970s for mosquito control for the Martin County High School, and we have had a water use permit from the South Florida Water Management District since 1980 for irrigation. This development has already altered the natural water flow that recharges our ponds during the dry season, so while we stand here today watching the flooding of our property, we are equally concerned that come the dry months of winter, our pond will go dry or salty. This letter is to serve as a public record to all those involved in this development and to protect our property and our rights moving forward. Thank you, the Lychee Tree Nursery family. On that same day, Mike Mortel responded. He is the current city manager, former city attorney, and he thanked them for their email. And here's what Mr. Mortel provided to the family. I will follow up immediately with the contractors as well as city staff. The city will make sure that drainage is appropriate and does not flood your property upon completion. I know that you probably think this is an empty promise in light of the descriptions in your email, but I want you to know that the city takes stormwater and runoff serious. It was spelled that way. And this particular project had extensive stormwater restrictions. I am not sure exactly what happened, but I can guess that the deluge of rain recently caused unanticipated levels of water in the temporary basins. Regardless of why, there should not be continuous and multiple breaches. I will circle back with you once I've had a chance to speak with the appropriate parties, but I wanted to make sure you were aware that the city was addressing the issue. Well, it's great that Mr. Mortel responded. However, this one sentence causes me, as somebody who doesn't even own property right next door, a little concern. He said the city will make sure that the drainage is appropriate and does not flood your property upon completion. So what happens in the next 2 years while it takes to get this property completed? What happens to a family-owned business that has been there for 48 years because drainage may not be sufficient? But don't worry, it'll be sufficient upon completion. We're seeing examples like this all across not just the city of Stuart, but in the county. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the type of flooding that we had on Canner, be it at Salerno Road or at Banyan Bay, where there are active construction projects happening right now. So now you know what happened to all of the water on that 50-acre parcel. Now you know that the city has addressed it, albeit with something that says that they will make sure that it's okay upon completion. But in the meantime, we haven't really had a major storm hit here, and we haven't had a hurricane this year. So I'm a little leery of what may or may not happen with the drainage, not just on the Canner CPUD, but across the county. So please make sure that you stay safe, you stay informed, you're well aware of what's happening on our roadways so that if there is flooding, that you make sure that you're not caught in it. And please make sure that you keep sending me your videos and your photos. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and I'll keep you updated as I get more information in the future. Thank you.